Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
I have not seen a single caterpillar. Not a single one. And now, I'm not saying that there aren't any. I'm not saying, my experience is the same for everyone. No, there are some big, gross-looking clusters that have been, spotted around town, on trees, sides of buildings and things. But what I'm trying to say is that even if this increased number does reach officially the outbreak level, it still is just nothing like it was in 2007. I'm going to be a bit of a broken record if people keep freaking out about how many caterpillars there are, because there aren't a lot right now. It was a year before I started on the radio here in town, and it was an experience that clearly you can't just describe to somebody. Even when you try to say, imagine as many caterpillars as you can fit into this image that you're seeing, like this photo, and then double that number and you might be close. It's just, it doesn't really spark the imagination like it needs to. I've had a friend messaging when they encounter a handful of them. It's killing me. I love it so much. I don't want it to stop because it makes me laugh. It's like, I had 6 on my walk today. There were 6. Okay. 6, huh? And another friend who wasn't here in 2007 yet, excitedly asking, I've heard about this so much. Is this happening again? Is it the year again? Unfortunately, my dear friend, the answer is no. Absolutely not. Let's talk when you can, see so many on your walk that you literally can't not step on them. With every step I'm talking about. It was ridiculous.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
We start off with a new documentary, the first ever authorized documentary about Led Zeppelin called simply Becoming Led Zeppelin. It's going to show up starting on Netflix June 7th. And director Bernard McMahon apparently spent 5 years going through the archives. All the old stuff, the footage, the performances, things that have never been seen before. New interviews with surviving Led Zeppelin members, Page, Plant, Paul Jones, as well as a never-before-heard interview with John Bonham, the late drummer. Very interesting. Of course, the trailer has come out, and you're not going to have to wait long to actually dive in. Rod Stewart's disappearing from a show, or at least pulling out of a show last minute in Las Vegas, a huge gig just hours before he was set to arrive on stage. He's also going to be in the Legends slot at the upcoming Glastonbury Festival in June. No word on exactly why the 81-year-old musician was not able to perform at Caesars Palace on the 2nd. But update showing up on social media said that it's really just health concerns. They're leaving it at that for now. Unfortunate, sad news to end off on as well. A absolute incredible drummer, a virtuoso of the jazz variety, and a drummer who was heavily associated with Miles Davis as well as Herbie Hancock. Al Foster has died, unfortunately, after dealing with a serious illness at the age of 82, confirmed by his daughter on social media. The end of The Wall, where, spoilers, sorry, the character Pink is fully radicalized and basically becomes a Nazi after he wakes up and decides to shave his whole head? Well, the reason I ask is because I saw a compilation video over the weekend of a handful of stupid people supposedly getting their eyelashes trimmed so that they would look more masculine. This is not a thing. This is like the looks maxing thing. Like, this is silly. You need those things. They don't just flutter in Disney movies. They keep dirt and crap out of your eyes. Sometimes even just as simple as keeping the sun out of your eyes. It may not even be a real occurrence, though. I mean, it is the internet, right? Take it with a grain of salt. May not even be real videos, let alone a real occurrence. Could be AI. But whether it's just 4 or 5 people in the clip or a whole lot more or none, just don't do it. You couldn't pay me enough. I mean, I was cringing. I was beside, like, the clippings from the eyelashes themselves being that close to the eyes, too much for me. I can watch horror movies. I couldn't sit through this. It's just too much. Plus, I mean, mine are too pretty to cut anyway.
Tuesday.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah!
It was a unique cleanup effort in northern Washington state, I guess, over the weekend. A truck with hundreds of beehives, some 250 million bees, Just picture that number in your head for a second. And 70,000 pounds of honey and wax and hives overturned on a rural road just before dawn.
No, not the bees! Not the bees!
Holy cow. Yeah, not for me. I wouldn't want to be encountering this whatsoever, although it wasn't a danger to any residents or anything like that. A very rural area. It just took a long time and about 24 expert beekeepers to come together to rebuild those 300 hives. That would be one of the worst things you could encounter on your morning commute, although, as long as you got some video to back up the evidence, pretty killer excuse to get out of work.
Oh, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
Very jealous of Mr. Lucky in Alberta. A man has won the lottery only 4 times. 3 of them were in the last 9 months as well. So let's run through it. David Sirkin won $250,000 12 years ago. Good enough, right? We should all be so lucky. But then, in August, he won $500,000. In November, he won $1 million. And then in May, he won another cool $1 million. You know, just $250 million in less than a year. No big deal. I guess it wouldn't be $250 million, but still, 2.5 million. Holy cow. He's also a cancer survivor, and he's retired. But he says, to CTV News specifically, said, "I don't think it'll happen again, but I still like buying tickets." So you know what? Here's the deal, David. I'll buy the tickets. You just pick the numbers and win me some numbers, please.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
There's something coming from the Talking Heads. We don't know exactly what, but they are teasing a huge announcement. Fans are saying, hey, well, reunion tour is what we want, but they're going to be making the announcement very soon, Thursday, June 5th, which is exactly 50 years, half a century from the day that they played their first show. So it could be a monumental announcement. Also, could be something very small. We don't know yet. As well, Firefests. You know, we heard so much about it coming back. Firefest 2.0 as a festival was not going to happen. This venue said no, they don't have a deal with us. This city said no, you don't have a permit to be here. And then Billy McFarland, the guy behind it all, who went to jail the first time around, said, okay, fine, no experience. It's going to be a streaming service. And now apparently going to be a hotel experience. He said he was stepping back from the brand. Yeah, don't believe a word this guy says, I think, because now Fire Hotels Experience from September 3rd until 10th in Honduras is on the books. If you spend money on this, make sure that your credit card has got insurance. That's all I've got to say. And the manager for Iron Maiden is not so happy with people filming the shows. Says that people maybe put the phones away as you're visiting their Run for Your Lives tour. He says he hopes that anybody who does film the show against the band's will, nothing but a sore arm. Tough words. Ridley Scott, famous director, says he is done making alien movies. He's made some very great stuff in the past. He has. And I will admit that I like the Alien prequel movies, you know, Prometheus and Covenant, a little bit more than most. Probably more than most people do. But I still think that this is some good news. Yeah, just back away. Just let it go. It's fine. I think he should probably also not make any more Gladiator swords and sandals flicks either, considering the recent Gladiator 2. Oh, how I love the first one, but that's about it. But you know what I would buy a ticket for the second that it went on sale? A crossover movie that has aliens and ancient Rome colliding. You know, tell me that wouldn't be amazing. Now, I'm not an expert on the Greek language or anything, but apparently the word xenos is, like xenomorph, very much fitting. So I think that's your title right there. Ridley, give me a call. Let's make this thing happen.
Wednesday.
Gibson wants their guitar back. Their Back to the Future guitar back. Technically, it wasn't theirs. I mean, they made it. Sure, they're the maker, but the Gibson ES 345 Cherry Red that Michael J. Fox plays Chuck Berry on, your kids are going to love it, was rented for the movie from Norm's Rare Guitars in California. So, you know, the production didn't buy it or anything or have it produced. They just rented it. But it has been missing for decades, apparently. Not sure whether it was stolen, whether misplaced and is just in a warehouse somewhere, or if Japanese tourists came by in the 90s and bought it up and left with it. We just don't know. but it has been missing for decades. And now Gibson and filmmaker Doc Krotzer are teaming up for a full true crime style investigation, and they're going to be turning it into a documentary, of course. All tips are being welcomed at losttothefuture.com. And one unusual feature on the neck of this specific guitar apparently will differentiate it from others that merely look the same, but are not. I think it would be hilarious if at the end of all of this investigation, the guitar is found, and then Norm's Rare Guitars just swoops in and takes it back again, and then starts renting it out all over again. That'd be the perfect ending. Rapper Eminem getting litigious, suing the giant social media company Meta. You know, we're talking Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. for $100 million plus because of the unauthorized use of music. I mean, simple as that. Across its many platforms. This has been reported by The Wrap. That this Meta usage has basically put it into the Reels remix and original audio functions. You might have seen this, where you've got audio where you actually get a credit for the song, the title, and you can click on it and listen to the whole thing or get links to whatever. But oftentimes, the audio scrubbing technology doesn't find that audio when somebody just uses it as their own, and it becomes, original audio owned by the person who posted it. Except for it's owned by Eminem, and he wants some cash out of that equation. Makes a lot of sense. Billy Joel in the news because of his health issues, but he is sharing an update saying, hey, I'm not dying. He's had to cancel some upcoming live shows. He was diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a brain disorder, NPH, that does affect speech and a lot of different things that have to do with playing music. But unfortunately, it resulted in an entire plan of tour dates being canceled, basically, exacerbated by recent concert performances, leading to problems with hearing, vision, and balance. Hopefully that can be rectified, treated, and that he can get back to doing what he loves in the future. That's it for your music news this morning. The latest trend in travel apparently is the sneaky trip trend.
Wow! You kind of just snuck up on me there, man. I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness, sir.
What is sneaky trip trending? Well, it's with the hallmarks of being a short duration of, 3, 4, 5 days, not announcing your travel plans to everyone ahead of time, and not posting about the trip during the trip. That will happen after you get home. So, you're distracted from real life as you're posting, not from an expensive vacation. Basically, you can keep up with the Joneses after you get back, is the whole idea. Sneaky trip travel in a nutshell. So, wait a minute. What you're saying is that it was like what going on a trip was like before social media existed? Everything old is new again? Instead of the pressure of curating and posting the perfect photo album at the same time you're actually trying to enjoy the trip, trying to see your screen on the beach with the sun blaring down, well, we used to just take 5 disposable cameras worth of shots, not knowing if a single one of them looked good, and then made our friends sit through a whole slideshow of the entire trip when we got back and had finally, made it to the photo lab.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.